Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be interesting. So it's going to be all about using these curl formers. Obviously, you guys can read. But these are the Corkscrew Curlformers. Now I have used curl formers before, but I've used the larger ones in this, not the barrel ones, but the one right in, I think they're called spiral. I've used those before and had never gone to a corkscrew size before, so this is the first time that I'll be using it on my head. Don't mind me, I had my wisdom teeth out. I'm still a little swollen and talking a little funny, but we're just gonna roll with it. The good thing about curl formers is that if your section's too big, it will yell at you and tell you as much. So there really isn't a huge chance of you taking too much hair, which is a nice thing for people who aren't sure how to gauge how much hair goes into a curl former. So these ones are, like I said, the corkscrew curls. I got the extra long length because I don't see the point in getting a short length because hair grows, and even if your hair will never reach this length, or you never want it to reach this length, it doesn't hurt to have the extra room. It does help a little bit with airflow, and essentially if you're going to invest in something, just invest in the biggest one that you can, because it doesn't change the diameter at all, it just changes the length, right? And so you can always get longer, you can always get shorter, but it's not going to work any less if you have shorter hair than the actual former itself. If anything, it'll probably make sure that all ends are tucked and remain tucked and in place and take form. So that's that. So just to quickly show you how the kit comes, there are two types of curl formers in each pack, always, and that's because they go two different directions. This will focus. There we go. Don't mind my nails. So one will go clockwise and one will go counterclockwise, and that is so that you can control which way the curl is going to go in your head. If you want it to curl towards your face, which I would never ever recommend, you can do that. Or if you want it to curl away from your face, which tends to be the most flattering for the most people, you can control it that way. And it becomes really easy when they're color coded, because you know, okay, right side's going to be all blue, left side's going to be all green. You can just divide and conquer and just go. It also saves a lot of the guesswork out of, like, when you're roller setting or perm, using perm rods to wrap your hair, remembering which direction you're going or how tight you were doing them. This is super easy. You pull the hair through, it's going to set the same for all of them, so you don't have to worry about that. And then the kit comes with two hooks. Okay, so the extra long ones comes with an extra long hook. You snap it apart, snap it together. I'll show you the process for how I'm going to get my hair into the perm rod. I would always recommend people buy the kits first because it's a really good starter. It's typically cheaper than buying the individual booster packs and then the individual hooks. It is really nice to be able to slide your hand up and down and have that control at so many different parts. It just makes it really accessible for people who have different fine motor skills, I would say. So you don't have to be a professional to use this, which I think is really important, because sometimes it can be really difficult to find a way to work with tools that require very specific methodology to install. It is a lot more flexible than a lot of other methods, like using flexi rods, for instance. They kind of are difficult to work with, and if you don't have the dexterity and the practice using them, they're very frustrating. You don't always get the result that you want, and at least this helps ensure a little bit of consistency. So I know I'm talking so many positive things about curl formers, but this isn't like a sponsored video or anything. I like things that are simple and accessible and easy for everyone to use, and I think that if you're going to invest the time in doing a set, you might as well get guaranteed, or as close to a guaranteed positive result as you possibly can. So that's that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go wash my hair, and then I'm going to come back and show you the process for how I install the curlformers in my head. So thank you for listening to me ramble, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back, obviously. Just to fill in the gaps a little bit, this is what we're starting with. Focus. There we go. Okay, so you can see. So what I did was I washed my hair, obviously. I didn't use anything super special, but I washed my hair using my usual. Then I went ahead and while the conditioner was in, I detangled with my Texture Pro comb. I started with this, worked my way through slowly with conditioner in, and then went ahead and when I was done and I had rinsed my conditioner out, went in with my Up North Naturals Go-To Hydrating Hair Milk. Okay, I wanted to use a really light product. The key to these, excuse me sir, can you focus? Okay. Up North Naturals Go-To Hydrating Hair Milk. I'm actually almost out, so sad, but I wanted to use a really light moisturizer, but something that was still effective. I also went ahead and, oh my god, my hair stuck to these are the IGK Mixed Feelings Drops. So these are what I use to keep my hair toned. I just mixed a little bit in with my Up North Naturals hair milk, distributed it through. What I'm going to use for this is Avalon The Science of Hair Care Care Foam Wrap Set Lotion, okay? The Care Wrap Foam, okay, this is sold at Sally Beauty in Canada, which means the States definitely has it because Canada has less. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to take my foam, distribute some of that in there. Okay. Go ahead. Now if you take extra foam, just go ahead and put it on the entire section. In fact, I would recommend that you do this because it just tends to be faster. Now again, we have to decide which direction we want. So I'm not going to use blue on my left side. I am going to go ahead and use green on my left side because I want the curls to go away from my face. You take your hook, you're going to put it through the curl former like so, all the way to the end. Okay, and then this hooked portion has to essentially take up this piece of hair. So it's going to take some getting used to, but eventually you'll be able to do it without really feeling for it. Take a section. I'm going to turn a little bit so that hopefully you can see a little bit better. Take a section. Okay, this is my section. That's what I'm going to go in with. It's not perfect. I don't want it to be. I don't really care. It matters more when you get to like this part of your head. I'm going to gently twist the roots of my hair right at the base, not all the way down. Okay, if you want to save a step, twist it first and then run the brush down. Okay, then you're going to put that hair into your hook. Just like that. Okay, then you're going to slide the curl former up and simultaneously pull your hair down, in, and through. Now, if you reach a point like this, where it doesn't go in smoothly, it's because you have too much hair. So go back, just push your hair back through. You can see where it bunched up, okay? So my section was too big. And this is what I mean by like, it'll yell at you. If it's not going through, don't force it. You can damage your hair, like with anything. Just make your section a little bit smaller. It's all good. Try again, add a little bit more foam. The foam does help with the slip into the former. Give her a quick smooth, twist the base, rehook, and slide it through. Ta-da! Just like that. Then if you get like this wonky curl, just run your hand through it and let it spring back up. Sometimes you just have to readjust it. It's pretty straightforward. There we go. Okay, so that's number 1. So I did want to make sure that I showed you what it looked like if it didn't go through properly. Now you're just going to continue with that same process. You're going to take your next section. Maybe add a little bit more foam. The key to wet sets is keeping your hair relatively wet. Unlike the roller set video I did, we're not using hydromagnetic rollers, so we don't really have to keep it soaking wet. But you want it wet enough that it's manipulable, that it can be manipulated. And just stays easier to work with. So I'm just going to twist my next section, hook it, pull through, bam. Okay. The most time consuming thing is actually putting the curl former onto the rod. But in my opinion, it's worth it because you know you're going to get a super consistent outcome. I'm just going to add some more foam to kind of both of these sections actually. I'm just feeling, because I think this is going to be a good enough size for one additional section. Perfect. It's always better to use an extra curl former than to try to finesse your way or finesse your hair into one that's already full. So again, I'm twisting, always twisting away from my face because that's going to follow the same pattern as the curl former shape, okay? Now, when you switch sides, one thing you're going to have to get used to is doing things backwards. So, yeah, I don't like the blues. Never liked the blues. It doesn't matter if I'm doing my hair or somebody else's hair, the blues suck. Just because you have to hold it. You have to hold the hook differently. So you don't want to hold it like I did and pull up. You always want to, oh my goodness, excuse me. There we go. You always want to pull in the direction that you're actually going to be pulling the hair in. So below, which some of you are probably like, obviously, but whatever. I'm going to put the disclaimer out there because I've tried all kinds of things and not all of them work very well. So there we go. I think I fixed that wonky one. There we are. So that's essentially it, and then I'm just going to go ahead and do this very last one. So there we have it, 2 and 2. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of kind of the back section of my hair using the exact same method. Okay, you'll notice I'm not going to perfectly divide my hair, like split it, like part it with a comb for the halfway point. I'm just going to use it based on my hands because I don't want a huge line of demarcation that I'll have to hide later. So it's better to just kind of freehand it, and then the same way that your curls are going to do what they're going to do. It's all good. And then on the top layers, I'll come back and talk a little bit about alternating curl directions for more volume. But in the meantime, I'm just going to speed my way through the next little bit. Okay? Be back in a second. Okay, so this is kind of where I'm at. I left this section as kind of promised. This kind of just really followed the same type of sectioning, just straight across. I mean, you can change it up to better suit what style you're going for, how you like to part your hair. I'm doing like a 3-way part type of deal. So let me zoom in a little and show you. So I typically part my hair right here, straight back, what I've done is I've made like a triangle so that this piece can go over and complete that part or not. Or I can part it on this side the same way with the triangle piece or not. Or I can part it right down the middle, and then any curl that falls in the middle section, like this one, can be split in half on either side. So I wanted to make it as flexible as possible, but because I tend to flip it this way more, I did want some more volume here. So an easy way to do that is to alternate between the green and blues so that it creates like a base that the curls can lay on top of and aren't gonna like fit in together. So when they spin opposite directions, they tend to lay on top of each other, versus if they spin in the same direction, they can fall into each other and just become like one massive curl. You don't get the same amount of volume, and you would have to go in and like back home to get the volume. So I didn't want to do that, so I did make like a triangle-ish part, like that. So kind of like right in the middle, but I'm not doing an even middle part. I'm doing more of an angled part. So this piece of hair is going to be one color and the other one is going to be another color. When you look at the mouth of the curl former, that should be the length of the part section that you're working with. Now I'm going to do a little bigger because I need less definition and more volume at the front, the way I like to wear my hair. But the other partings are quite a bit smaller, and they do follow this rule that the mouth length is approximately the length and the width that I'm working with, okay? That's an easy way to gauge it if you're somebody who likes to measure. You're not going to hear me say very often that you have to do something. And that's simply because I don't think there's a lot of things, like there aren't a ton of rules in terms of styling. Like you try things, they'll either work for you, not work for you, but every time you try something, you learn from it. And so I don't always tend to say you have to do something unless another method would absolutely just backfire terribly, and then I will, to kind of save you from that. But I will always put in things that I do that I felt made a difference as more of like tips or like guidelines or like things that worked or didn't work for me. There we go. I'm gonna go sit under my heated dryer, have a snack, and I will be back to do the takedown process. Peace. Hey guys, I'm back. So I am now hopefully dry. I think. So just, they will slide out really smoothly, but I always put my hand somewhere in the middle so that I'm not yanking on the root of my hair. So here's number one. Okay, there we go. So it is super soft, super like bouncy and light, and it does have a really nice shine, and it does feel dry, so that's a good thing. Okay. So it turned out pretty well, and I'll zoom in a second, but I just wanted to talk about a few things. So as I was saying before, there is quite a bit of flexibility with like how you want to part it. Okay, and that's the benefit of doing that like triangular part, is that all of these curls right in the front here will now sit on top of each other instead of fall into each other, and give you the volume that you want regardless of how you choose to part it, which is really convenient. So I am super excited. I'm pretty impressed with how it turned out. What I didn't do was I did not go in with my pick and pick it out yet. Pieces that were a little bit fluffy on the ends where my ends needed a trim or were damaged, instead of trimming them and solving the problem, because I'm a procrastinator and I avoid things. No, I'm kidding. So I did take a little bit of my Up North Naturals 8 Oil Defining Jelly. So I was taking oil between my hands first, and I was smoothing and palm rolling in the direction that the curl was going. So for this side it was this way, and for this side it was this way. And that's how I was smoothing it as I was running it down, and then I'd release and it would spring back up. And if the ends were a little bit fluffy or frayed, I would take a little bit of the jelly on my fingers and literally do the exact same thing and just let it glide through the jelly on my fingertips and the oil that was on my palm. I will probably use a stronger hold, like gel of some sort, before I set it, so that it does get that cast, because I think that would be really helpful for the parts of my hair that are looser, that really need the help holding on to that shape. Okay, so this is, and sorry, I'm just looking at the monitor to make sure that I'm doing this properly. So this is essentially what we have. Rotate. Okay, now I'll zoom out just a little bit. Well, I'll zoom in just a little so that you can see the definition. So this is the definition. Now these are the corkscrew size, so they are quite small. They do look similar to some of my natural curls already, but it did kind of equalize everything. Give you just a look here. I haven't really looked at the back, to be completely honest, so there could still be pieces that just weren't separated. I was a little bit in a rush, but essentially that is the result that I got, and so I'm pretty happy. Will I be doing this again? Absolutely. I think it was a really relatively easy, like, you can do your curl formers while watching Netflix and then keep watching Netflix while your hair is drying, or in my case Crunchyroll, because I watch a lot of anime. And I liked that. I liked that it was fairly, like, I didn't really have to pay much attention to it, aside from when I like got my hair caught in the curl formers because I took too much or whatever, didn't hold it the right way. But even that, it was only the first couple curl formers, and after that it went really smoothly. So yeah, aside from changing the products that I use for these pieces that tend to be a little longer and looser, I really do like the result, and I think my hair looks pretty healthy, and I think it was really fast and easy, and I'm really excited to see how well this holds up. So for once, my right side actually looks nicer than my left side, in my opinion. Thank you so much for watching, and please feel free to comment down below what it is that you'd like to see next, what something is that you struggled with, if you have any questions, or if you've tried curl formers or aren't really sure what kind of curl formers, like what's of the 3 sizes you think would work best for you. Feel free to drop those questions, leave your recommendations for things that you want to see in the future. I do listen to those. I have a couple of things in the works that people have asked from me, but I just want to say thank you so much for watching if you watched this far into it, because I'm sure this video is going to be super long even with me editing it. And I really appreciate your support and your positivity, so thanks so much. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.